Hey guys, welcome to Approach the Nerd. It is Maria Park, and we are here to talk about the Disney Plus MCU latest addition to the Disney Plus lineup, Hawkeye Episode 3. So there's a few things to talk about with Hawkeye Episode 3, and we're going to jump right into that. And I want to make sure that we talk about all the things, but there are also things that I like to talk about. If you follow my Arrowverse or any comic book or really anything I review, continuity wise, I always have questions about things. I have to have a question answer before we jump into this review. And it's petty. I'm nitpicking, so here we go. So in the episode, or actually in the first two episodes, Kate's mother got kind of ticked off at her and canceled her credit cards. And there's a scene in episode 3 where her and Clint are sitting in a coffee shop or diner or whatever. And she's like, can you pay for this? Because my credit cards were canceled. And I kept thinking, I understand in the comics, Kate Bishop, her father disowned her. She literally went from being a socialite and a rich girl to having to figure out how to pay her rent. She became a private eye to support herself. And obviously that was something else she wanted to do to stay valid. But, I guess this is their way of adapting the story. But I mean, the girl has a full-time job at her mother's company. So surely she has a checking, a debit account. She can get her own credit cards. I mean, she's over 21. So I don't know. I found that really interesting that she was like, my mother canceled my credit card. So can you pay for this coffee? And I'm like, all right, MCU, I see what you're doing. I'm like, so I don't know. It just keeps bringing me back full circle to what I said before, and other comic book related reviews and some of the TV shows that I watch. The concept of money is very weird when they incorporate it into these, make-believe worlds, because they don't seem to have a lot of validation. Because quite frankly, Kate Bishop lives on her own, and now she's staying at her aunt's place. She's not living at home. So with all of her credit cards canceled, how can she afford to get groceries or pay for anything? So I don't know. I just think that's interesting. I had to say something because it was driving me nuts. All right, so we got Echo in this. I love Echo. If you know about her in the comics, she's pretty badass. She is Kingpin's adopted daughter. So that's why I really and truly believe that the MCU is basically going to give us Kingpin, because he was the one that killed her father in the comics and begged him as he was dying to raise, Echo or Maya as his own child. So there's a lot of story with Echo, and there's a lot of different directions you can go. But in this universe, in the MC universe, they made it so Ronan is the person that actually killed her father, which is interesting. But they do keep name dropping an uncle, and he's going to get mad and blah, 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 blah. And so I have big hopes that we are going to have Kingpin. And I'm also wondering if we're going to have the Netflix version of Kingpin, because if everybody's right about the new Spider-Man movie and we have Charlie, Cox playing, basically having our version of Matt or Daredevil, then I'm kind of tickled that we might actually get the Netflix version of Kingpin. And I don't know. But it really depends on what Earth and what capacity they have Daredevil in the Spider-Man movies, and Spider-Man is dealing with more like multiverse, Spider-Verse stuff. So I don't know. We'll see about that. But I don't know. I think having Wilson Fisk from Netflix, that actor was very good as Kingpin, and I would love to see him somehow incorporated into this show. But I don't know. I don't know. Something tells me that Jack, the mother's boyfriend, and the mother, because we all know who the mother might be, that both of them may actually be working for the Kingpin. So yeah, there's a lot going on in this show. I love the car chase scene. I love the fact that we had an Ant-Man, Hank Pym, Henry Pym style arrow that Kate shoots off, that it basically makes the little pillar expand. I thought that was interesting. I love how Kate got to go through almost all of the arrows, and she got to decipher which ones were useless and which ones were not. And it kind of built like this relationship with Clint, where Clint was like, "You really are a good, archer. You're actually pretty good." And I'm like, I love it, and at the same time, it's weird for me because in the episode, when they're at the warehouse, It starts off, because they basically got taken hostage by Echo and, of course, our wonderful tracksuit mafia. And, there's a lot of bantering going on, and they're able to get out of that situation. But right before that, his hearing aid gets crushed by Echo. And so he can't hear anything. And so there's a scene where his son calls before they're able to get the basically his hearing aid fixed. And she's kind of writing down what the son's saying, and he's reacting to it. And it's like, it's so hard for me because in the comics, he doesn't have that family. So it's like Kate really could be seen as his pseudo adopted daughter, kind of like Echo and Kingpin. But that's not what's happening. For some reason, it's like he is bonding with her, but he has no skin in this game. Clint's trying to keep her alive. He's trying to make it so they don't come after her so he can get home to his actual family. And I feel like the comic book version of their relationship versus the MCU, it's a lot more personable, and it's a lot more, it's a very complex, obviously complex relationship. They go through a lot of crap together. There's even a time where they're mad at each other at some point, especially Kate being mad at Hawkeye for a while. But I feel like we're missing out on that by him having this whole ass family. It's like, because we don't have the same dynamic. I don't know. That's probably just me. Again, I am a Kate Bishop fan. I love Kate Bishop. I love the West Coast Avengers. I'm probably in the minority with that. I just have a lot of issues with how building up Clint's family that doesn't exist in continuity in the comics. It's only in the MCU universe. Is weird. And then, it would have been really interesting for me though if they had made Mockingbird his wife, his ex-wife is in the comics, and that he, instead of them getting divorced, they actually had a family. I think that would have brought another level of, basically a level of coolness for me. But yeah, not opposed to the family. The wife is cool. The kids are adorable. It's just weird because he already has Lila. He has a daughter. He could be, or could basically take her dad's place as the next Hawkeye. But, you're basically making Kate Bishop the next Hawkeye. And then how is the daughter going to feel about that when she's older? It just opens up a lot of crap, a lot of drama. So I don't know. I guess this is in my feelings. But yeah, car chase scene was cool. Their pseudo bonding was cool. Them alluding to the fact that the uncle, who's all powerful, potentially is the Kingpin, which again, I'm really hoping is the one from Netflix. And then having Kate and Clint saying the same things. Like, she's like, I really need to feed the dog, or I should walk the dog. He's been on his own for blah, blah, blah. Then like, he doesn't hear it. And then he's like, we really need to, walk the dog. It's like them being on the same page, even when, he doesn't know what she's saying was very cool to me, because again, it's almost like they pulled that scene out of the comics. But then when you go to him on the phone with his son, it's like, it just threw water on that scene, because yes, again, they're in this like weird mentee mentor position, but it's just so not the same relationship for me. So I don't know. It's just, I know I'm just venting it out, guys, but I just had to say it. It's my truth, and I stick to it. The naming of Pizza Dog, it was like she's going down the list of calling him all those names. And, Clint obviously named him Lucky, the pizza dog, in the comics, because Clint is the one who literally took this dog, from, the tracksuit mafia. But now they have it where they've reversed it. So Kate's the one that first found the dog. And so she got to name the dog, and she's the one that names the dog Pizza Dog. So I'm like, and the dog doesn't look the same in the comics anyway. So I can forgive it, because essentially it's not the same dog. I mean, throwing it out there. But yeah, I'm glad that, he's alive. As somebody who has a dog, I'm glad somebody's taking care of the damn dog, because I keep thinking about my L Word reviews, and I'm like, Shane's not taking care of that damn dog. So they have Kazi in it, who is basically, if you read any comics, he's a mercenary, and they refer to him, I believe it was the Clown is what they used to call him in the comics. Kazi is a fool. Like I said, the MCU is its own universe, so I have no problem with it. But he's the one that's like, Maya, you're going too far. What are you doing this, Maya? And she's like, who's the boss? And blah, blah, blah. It's so weird. Because, I'm used to him dressing up like a clown or a mime. So it's just really weird seeing him in this human form. But I guess I've kind of been predisposed to this by the Arrowverse, where they take characters that have deformities or whatever, and they just look completely human and normal. So I guess I'm desensitized and reprogrammed to accept this. So, and then who knows? Something might happen with Kazi that makes him actually break out the full mime clown gear. So, start running around looking like the Joker. We'll see. But I do like the fact that, we're getting all these characters slid in as little like Easter eggs. If you don't know who they are in the comics, then you probably won't catch it. If you have some inclination or who these characters are, then yeah, it's kind of like a little Easter egg. It's a little present for us. But again, the MCU is not the same as Marvel Comics continuity. So it's a completely different universe. So this is a multiverse all on its own. So this really can go anywhere, and Kazi could literally never become anything. I mean, anything. Look how long it took, for Jessica Jones to bring out Hellcat with Patsy. Technically Trish. So it's a thing. I love the fact that Clint, when Echo was trying to figure out who, is Ronan alive or Ronan dead? And Clint's like, Ronan's dead. She's like, how do you know? He's like, I was there. She's like, well, who killed him? And he says Black Widow, which is very true because she talked him off the ledge of killing people in the underground or the crime underground. She talked him down from doing that because he was only doing that because he couldn't deal with the loss of this make-believe family he now has. This family they gave Clint. And now that he has them back, but the fact that he literally was like, it was Natasha because she brought him back. And then she died. And now he has all this guilt and he sees her everywhere. He's mentioning Black Widow like crazy, which we know why, because we know Yelena's coming to probably try and take him out for obvious reasons. Lies that have been told. But yeah, I'm looking forward to, I think if I'm looking forward to anything in this series, it's to see if Kingpin is coming and to see what happens with Yelena and Clint. Now, Echo was beating the hell out of Clint, by the way. That fight, she was whooping his ass. He literally had to have a bow and an arrow in his hand to be more effective, but she was beating the shit out of him. And I'm like, okay, let's see what they did there with Echo. Echo is one of those Native American characters in the comics that you do know, because there's lots of obscure ones that are in the background. You know her, Warpath, Forge, and Daniel Moonstar, but then you think of other obscure characters, like Lightning in them. You just, not to be confused with DC Lightning. People have no idea who she is, and I was wondering if that actually translated with this character, because a lot of people know who Echo is, but there are some people that are like, oh, she's from the comics. So it's just interesting, and I want to see how they bring the two storylines of Echo in the comics and Echo in the MCU together, where it kind of makes some semblance of similarity in a way, because again, she was trained by Kingpin to be as vicious as she is. Her real father was killed by the Kingpin, and his dad, and right as he was dying, he begged the Kingpin to raise his kid. And that's what Kingpin did. He basically raised a foot soldier. Is what he did. A new version of the hand, the hand, when you see like the actual hand imprint, it's not where it's supposed to be because it's different in the comics. But I mean, again, MCU is different, but I'm really curious to see how they basically what they pull from the comics in terms of Echo. So I really want to know what's going to happen with that. But breaking into Kate's mother's penthouse and then having Jack there to surprise Clint with a sword is, I don't know. I feel like that scene, I know they were trying to get to that cliffhanger, and throughout the episode and even the second episode, I remember Kate kept telling Clint that, I think Jack is a killer, my mother's marrying a murderer. And, it's almost like Clint's like, oh yeah, there's that too. Like he just kind of brushed it off. And now I'm wondering if this is going to make him take this situation more seriously, because he doesn't seem to be taking it seriously right now. But yeah, I think the whole situation with Clint and Jack is going to be interesting, especially if Jack shows his hands. If he starts putting up a fight and actually attacking Clint, then he's going to show his hand on what's really going on with him. If he just treats him like an intruder and lets himself get de-armed by Clint, then we know there's definitely something more going on with Jack, which we know Jack has an agenda. But, again, it's episode 3. How I feel overall about this, it's not bad. Like I said, the car chase scene I loved. I loved the banter between Kate and Clint. especially when he can't hear her or when he chooses to turn he literally turns his hearing aid off, which I think is effing hilarious. But I don't know. I felt like they put so much energy into the car chase and a little bit into them first escaping, that they didn't really have room left for much else. So they got to this point where they had a little bit bonding, then they were breaking into the penthouse, and then it was just like, bam, we're cutting to the whole thing with Jack. It felt really rushed to me, and maybe that's just me, but the episode did have it had a moment where I felt like, okay, I can tell where this episode dipped, because if you go by scene beats, it just seemed like it dipped right after they had that whole moment where, they were talking about going into the penthouse and then blam. And luckily we got little scenes like with Lucky the Pizza Dog, or we got the scene where, she was translating what the son was saying on the phone. But it was like, I really wish they had spent more time kind of dealing with the situation with Jack, or showing more what's going on with Echo, because Echo is angry. Her dad was murdered and she is pissed and she wants vengeance. That's it. That's what that's about. And I would love to see something other than angry Maya. I'd love to see, what she's like when she's not thinking about getting revenge. What else is happening with her? Does she distrust the uncle? I mean, I would love to know what the dynamic is with that. So I'm hoping episode 4 is a little bit broader with exposition and we get a lot more, because if this is the pace that they're going to go at, I think this is going to make me irritated very quickly, because again, I love Kate Bishop. I also love America Chavez, and I'm still I'm really sad that we're not going to have the wonderful banter of these two BFFs in the comics, because they've actually de-aged America Chavez a lot. So it would not I cannot see Haley Steinfeld's Kate Bishop like talking the way she talks to her in the comics to this girl who I think is 14 years old. I just don't think that's going to work. So MC's already taken my BFFs from me. I need them to at least maintain something of Kate's characters. I also want to know if they're going to make her very promiscuous, because if you know anything about Kate, she sleeps around a lot in the comics, almost like a stress reliever. But this is a different Kate, because in the Kate Bishop that we have in the comics, her dad's the a-hole that treats her like crap, and she has an older sister, and she has all of this going on, and that she doesn't have her sister. She doesn't have the dad that cuts her off. It's the mother, and the father is the one that's dead. So they've reinvented her entire story. So this Kate Bishop is not the comic book Kate Bishop. So whenever people I hear that are talking, like I have friends that discuss this stuff, because I haven't been able to watch any reviews. I normally don't. I don't watch other people's reviews normally, but I know some of my friends, when we talk about the show, when we watch it, and they're always like, oh, well, she's like this in the comics, and she's like that. And I'm like, no, this Kate Bishop is nothing like the Kate Bishop in the comics. The only thing they have in common is that they both talk to themselves and get really annoyed by Clint very easily. And that's like the main thing that she has of Kate Bishop, on the dark hair and the suit, or kind of the suit. Outside of that, the Kate Bishop in the comics is a lot different, more confident, a lot, she's more of the socialite. She bought into her entitlement for a long time. She was a rich girl and she knew it. And this Kate's kind of like, meh, money. I mean, this one almost like is running around in like Skechers or Kids, she's like completely different. So I'm going to see where they go with that, because it's very interesting. All right, let me look at a couple of questions. Our statements. I'm loving Echo too. I think the girl that cast for her, Alaqua Cox, I think is her name. I really like her portrayal. I would like to also point out that the mechanics shop at the beginning of episode 3, where Maya Snow run and kill her father, was named Fat Man's Auto Repair. Yep, I noticed that. Yeah, I love that the father was calling her Little Dragon, because there's a reference where Shang-Chi gets called Little Dragon because he was a fan of watching Bruce Lee and like what's his name? There's another one, not Jackie Chan, but there's another. It's not Sammo Hung. I'm to think about it, but in the comics, like he was watching all these movies, these martial art movies, and like that was something that I want to say it was Elle that called him that, his girlfriend at the time, but somebody used to call him Little Dragon. I don't know if that's what they were doing, like trying to connect that to Shang-Chi, or if they're just making like a broad reference to like martial arts films with Bruce Lee and other, kung fu and Hong Kong at the time action stars, but I thought that was pretty cool. There's a lot of little Easter eggs, all over the place when you really look at them. It's kind of cool. What do you think of the rumors of Vincent D'Onofrio reprising his role as Kingpin on the show? I think that would be cool. I think that would be effing cool. I really enjoyed Vincent's portrayal of Kingpin. I really did. He's got the anger management problem that I see Kingpin having. Like, he's just really calm, and then he just starts beating the hell out of you and slamming your head into a desk. I mean, that's the Kingpin. Well, like I said, I don't know for sure if he's who they're bringing in. And like I said, it's all speculation. I'm not sure if other people in reviews are seeing that this is potentially Kingpin. But I mean, when you have Echo, you have Kingpin. That's just it. They go together. I understand that the MCU likes to change things, but those two things are synonymous. You cannot change Echo without having Kingpin in the change. So I'm thinking that is legit. Somebody had to finish raising her. So why not Kingpin? Even though he's not the one that killed the father in this version. So, or did he? Who knows? Maybe Kingpin tipped off Ronan. I don't know. That would be interesting. They did a really good job of making Maya Echo into a character of death. True. She has depth. She does. I just want her to have more. I want her to have something outside of vengeance. Like, I love seeing the scenes of her as a little girl, especially when she was in school and she was like doodling. And I love her teacher, like, was getting ready to scold her and she just smiled because she was like, oh, she's really talented. I'm like, I often wonder where she would have gone, or where her character would have gone had her dad not been murdered. So just things to think about. It's getting more than likely that Kingpin and Daredevil will get revealed within the same week at NWH's opening weekend. Yeah, I'm thinking, like I said, I'm going to go see No Way Home at the drive-in because I'm not comfortable going into spaces like movie theaters. So I see all my movies at the drive-in. If you're lucky enough to have one in your area, I say do it because, COVID's not over, people. I know people won't believe it. I'm fully vaccinated. My whole family is fully vaccinated, but that means nothing because you can still get breakthroughs. I'm not trying to do that. I'm not suffering in a movie theater to see a movie, but I am super, super, super excited because Spider-Man was one of the comics I grew up reading. The first comic I ever got was Superman. And I heard it from my dad. That, and I think he had a bunch of Sandman comics, but they were like old, like the ones where they literally had 2 cents on them because, my dad's in his 70s. But Spider-Man was the first comic book that I discovered for myself, and it led me to X-Men because he did a crossover, and I'm like, oh, let's go look at these mutants, and then I fell in love with mutants and fell in love with the X-Men, X-Force, Excalibur, all of that crap. So Spider-Man for me was the reason that I love comic books. And so seeing, even though there's so many different variations, there's so many animated series, there's so many live action movies, I feel like they're not doing a bad job with this reality. Yes, the MJ in this reality is completely made up. That's fine. They did the same thing in DC with Arrowverse. They did this with Felicity. Felicity was a little minor character, but she was never a Green Arrow character. She was a blimp in the Batman universe, like married to like a security guy or something, or like an IT security, officer for Wayne, Enterprises or something like that. She was not what she was in the Arrowverse. So, I mean, I'm completely okay with this MJ being a version of MJ. Did they ever say what MJ's last name was? I know her first name is Michelle. So her last name Jones? I don't know. I know we have a Michelle in the comics, but that's the Carly years. That's what I like to call it. I don't know. I have to figure that out. But yeah, the telling of that. And then if they actually if I see Charlie walk out as Daredevil, I mean, they're going to hear me in my car. Because I'm here for it. I think that this is the one time where they have a trailer for Spider-Man that is so there's so much action in it that they could put so much into it, but they left all the cool shit out. So you go in there, you're like, damn. But my worry has always been this. I am half British. My family is on Facebook. And when the second Avenger movie came out, my cousin had gone to see it because it was released over in the UK first. And he posts who died, which, we all know is Quicksilver. But he literally posted on there. He's like, I can't believe they killed Quicksilver. I was like, mother F. So now every time an MCU or any movie I want to see comes out and I know that they get it before us, because that happens. I mean, you got to be really careful this week and next week. I mute my family. I'm like, I mute them. Don't talk to them at all. Don't text me. Don't do any of that shit, because it's just gonna spoil everybody. He's that person that will spoil everybody, like all the characters in the movie. So yeah, that would be an issue if he just told me who died, or he told me, so and so showed up. Now I've spoiled things accidentally, only because I thought, like, I did it recently with someone, and he got his feelings about it because, like, I thought they actually had read the comic. And so, I know what it's like to have that happen. I don't react that way. I don't get upset about it. And, but yeah, it happens. So I got to be really careful with my cousin specifically, because I feel like he just wants me to know. I feel like he just needs to be the one that tells me. He doesn't want me to look at the damn movie. So it is a thing. It is a thing. I heard that Echo will be getting her own series as well. She should. I am super hyped for her to have her own shows. So her name is Michelle Jones. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. They combined her with Felicity Shagwell from Austin Powers. Hey, Felicity Austin Powers was cool. But yeah, I keep thinking about all the things that I know that are coming out and trying to figure out how everything is going to be connected. Because, like, we know we're getting Doctor Strange 2. We know that Wanda is going to be in it. We know that America Chavez is in it. We know whatever happens in Spider-Man is going to lead to the second Doctor Strange movie. I keep wondering how Hawkeye, and honestly, it may not even be that. It may be they're waiting for the Young Avengers, but I kind of want to know how we're going to have Hawkeye, how we're going to have Winter Soldier and Falcon, like, included into this, this storyline, even with She-Hulk, and Moon Knight. How are they all going to be incorporated if they're all interconnected? The only thing I can think of is Secret Invasion, because, that was a thing. And it involved a lot of different people from a lot of different comic series in the Marvel Universe, or they're waiting for the Young Avengers to introduce everybody, or they're splitting it. We'll have some people that are going to be involved heavily in Secret Invasion, and more people that'll be the result or leftovers for Young Avengers. I don't know. I am just curious to see what happens with that. So I am intrigued. I'm intrigued with what the MCU is doing. Kevin Feige he's putting his feet in it, but I don't know if I'm going to like it when he stops stirring the pot. So fingers crossed. I do not dislike this series. Like I had, when I watched Marvel, What If, I had a lot of problems with some of the episodes because they were just they should have just left those out. I don't have that feeling with this series. I guess I'm just being impatient, only because we don't have a lot of episodes. So I'm like, I want to have as much cool shit as can possibly happen combined in these limited episodes, so that, when I leave this series, I'm like, they really got a lot done. I don't want to have filler episodes or like moments that are like, why are we focusing on this when we have all this other shit to do? I don't want to have where the last 2 episodes are the episodes that basically everything gets explained and everything gets crammed in, because then it's going to feel really damn rushed. So that is the problem that I'm having, and the fear that I have. And you're dealing with a character as cool as Echo, and that irritates me. And then, of course, Kate Bishop. So I don't know. I mean, the overall thing should be Kingpin, Echo. How are we going to deal with this revenge? But what I'm feeling is happening right now is, how are we going to get Clint home to his family for Christmas? That's how I feel. Let's see. I mean, the internet and anybody talking about it, I'm like, don't see you just put blinders on. As soon as I even hear, like even when somebody put, like when Terrell was like NWH, I'm like, okay, let me make sure to screen it. Nope, the movie's not out yet. Oh, I don't think it is. Overseas, it might be. It could be overseas. We get it on the 17th, so I don't know. But I'm like, I gotta really, really think hard about reading some stuff, because I don't want to get like messed up. So it's a mess. It is a mess. I've heard some people complain that Kate behaves like a 22-year-old or who is in over her head, and I've been left nodding my head in disbelief. She will learn and grow throughout her time on the show. What do they expect her to be like? Coming in, I got this shit. I'm like, do they want her to be like Arrowverse characters? I'm like, they just like all of a sudden know how to do everything, and then they just F everything up. Let me explain how this works. People like me, we nitpick and we do reviews because that's what we do. But in the basis of reality, you have to look at a character and say, you don't know anything. This woman was a fangirl. She was fangirling Hawkeye because Hawkeye saved her when she was little. And so she's fangirled him. She wanted to be him. So I get why Kate acts the way she does. Plus, look at her mom and her relationship. You can tell they have issues. So I mean, I don't know. People just expect they expect the comic book, but I mean, if they expect the comic book, they shouldn't be watching MCU shit in the first place because none of the shows and movies we've gotten from the very first Avengers movie, actually prior to that, if we're going to go down the line, Thor was not accurate at all. That is not how Thor came to Earth. That is not his role. That was never his role. He was a whole ass doctor in the comics. If we really want to make a video and break down how different the MCU is from comics, we can do that. But I think the problem that I'm having is that there are a lot of people that have never read a comic book that are like, she shouldn't be this way. They pick up something that just recently came out and they're just comparing to what they think a character should be like, and they have no real backstory or basis. So they don't know the whole story. And they also don't know that characters evolve. They retcon characters all the damn time. So especially in the comics. So, it's a thing. It is a thing. I don't take anybody's opinion on that shit seriously. I really don't. I don't let anybody tell me what to like and not like and what characters should be like. I make that determination for my damn self. I want them to bring back Daredevil. We all do. I actually wouldn't mind Punisher rolling through either. Don't forget that during Armor Wars Series 2, do you think they'll use Iron Lad or Ironheart? I think we might get Ironheart. I do think we might get Ironheart. I'm still amazed at how many people are still pissed about Riri Williams. There are so many people that are still pissed. And I'm like, wow, let it go. I mean, so many people. A lot of people are like, well, why couldn't Tony Stark's daughter be the next Iron Man? I'm like, must we go back to comic continuity? Because that wouldn't make sense. Because Riri is actually, she has the suit in the comics. So it is actually canon. You want to bitch about it? Bitch to the comic creators because it happened there first. So I'm excited for Riri Williams though. So they'll be all right. They will be okay. Oh, guys. I'm like, you see, this is how you separate your blood pressure from things that do not matter. Like people bitching and whining about how this character, shouldn't be doing this and that and that, and getting their feelings to the point where they want to harm themselves. And it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, you know me, my angry grandma comes out whenever I watch Batwoman, sometimes The Flash too. But that doesn't mean by the time I hit the off button on my computer and switch off my camera that I give 5 fucks about what I'm talking about. I'm going to live my life because it doesn't matter. They're not real. Oh, people. It's technically funny. By the end of next year, we will have all the young Avengers introduced except Hulkling, and there are rumors Wiccan and Speedy will get aged up. That's what I'm hoping happens with America. I'm hoping they age her up by the time they do the young Avengers, because I need my cocky American Chavez, queer as hell, doesn't give a damn about what anybody says, superhero that so many people don't like because they call her culturally appropriated because she basically speaks Spanish and acts like she's Latina, but she's basically from, an entirely different dimension. The Topian Parallel is not Spain or Mexico or anything along those lines. And so even though people don't realize when she came to Earth, she actually was raised, by, a Hispanic family in New York. But that's a thing. That is a thing. Considering we got some Kang. Huh. We did get some Kang. Well, I mean, I think Kang's going to play a big role. I think every version of Kang is going to play a big role in the MCU. I'm enjoying the series way more than Falcon and Winter Soldier. I think Hawkeye is a show I can see myself rewatching next Christmas. That's good. I didn't mind Falcon and Winter Soldier. I actually didn't have a problem with it. I mean, I nitpicked that too because that's what I do. I find things because it's what reviews are for. But I didn't for the overall enjoyability. I did not mind that show at all. The only show MCU wise I've had issues are some of the episodes in What If, because they really got on my nerves very badly. They really butchered the Hand in the Netflix series. In the comics, they're at least as formidable as Hydra. That is very true. They made the Hand into Power Ranger putties. But yeah, it's kind of like, I feel like maybe this is a redemption. I'm like, maybe. Don't quote me on that, because we don't know what the plan is. We don't. I know right now we're trying to get everybody towards Secret Invasion. That is the goal for right now, and then eventually Young Avengers. If you want to throw something else in there, you can do that too. But I don't know if redeeming the Hand is necessarily Kevin Feige's goal, or if he even thought about it. But I guess we'll see. What if instead of I think it turned. Hold on, let me go here. What if instead of Reed or Doom, they say Kang is a descendant of Tony's? They might. I told you, they connect people that have no correlation with each other. They have people not know each other that are related or were married. I mean, they do all kinds of stuff in their own versions of these worlds. It's weird. I don't get it. I just want to see Kate and Yelena interact with each other. It will be comedy gold, and they will be best friends. I am looking forward to Yelena and Kate meeting each other. I'm also looking forward to them fighting, because, I mean, Kate's not a bad fighter. I think they had to build that up, because I have a feeling that she is going to have to fight Yelena because, you know, she's a protege. She doesn't want her taking out Clint on her watch. So I'm looking forward to that. I think it's going to be really cool. Now, when that's going to happen, like I said, we don't have a lot of episodes, so it has to happen soon. I don't know. I feel like, I don't know why we couldn't have like 10 or 12 episodes of this show. I feel like there's so much they could have accomplished, because, again, right now we're just trying to get Clint home for Christmas. Please let us get him home for Christmas. Like, I don't know. It's weird for comic fans seeing a version of the Marvel Universe without Doctor Doom. Yep. And the X-Men mythos. Yeah. And to be fair, it's not their fault. They didn't have the license to, they couldn't even say mutant. So now we're going to finally get X-Men characters. But I mean, it's so weird, because, like, when we do Secret Invasion, I'm still holding out hope, especially since we saw Sentry's belt and the circus scene and WandaVision, that we're going to have the Illuminati during Secret Invasion. I am really hoping that happens. And remember, one of the purposes of the Illuminati is they viewed Sentry as a danger to Earth. And if you have the Illuminati, you have to have Professor X, you have to have Beast. There's a bunch of people from the X-Men side of the fence that are involved and work for the Illuminati. So I need it to happen. I just don't know if it's going to happen in Secret Invasion. I just feel like it's not going to make any sense, because you have the ability to introduce these people before they have their own movies, or before they have their own, inserts into other series and movies. So just bring them in already. I mean, you teased us with Quicksilver and effing WandaVision. Just bring them in. It's not hard. Just do it. Just effing do it. So I don't know. They probably have a 10-year plan. I'm like, I found, in order to maintain my sanity, I watch shows like Charmed and Batwoman come here for my weekly therapy sessions to reverse the weekly trauma and move on until the next episode. I'm glad I have that for you. I have decaf, because it has to be decaf, Earl Grey tea, that I sip the hell out of when I talk about those shows, because I was just like, you have no idea the level of relief I have that I did not have to do a freaking Batwoman review this week, that it is on hiatus. You have no idea how happy I was. Like, oh, this is what it likes to be happy. Like, every Wednesday, I'm just like, or Tuesday, I'm just like, oh. No, I think it is Wednesday when it comes on. I literally am just like, oh, why? Just why? Oh, and then you start talking about your life, start having flashbacks of when you were 5. I'm like, I used to be happy with my Crayola grounds. I'm like, what did it all go wrong? Oh, started watching this shit. Like, they have released a mid-season promo of Hawkeye, and it revealed a hooded character with night vision goggles is on the roof. That might be Yelena, because she also wears a stealth suit with MV goggles. Oh, more than likely. I mean, she's not going to come in her Black Widow attire. Well, she might. She's pretty much going to be the next Black Widow. I like the deaf representation the series is giving us. True. Like I said, MCU tries to do representation correctly. They just sometimes fail, like in a lot of different ways that people don't get. Like LGBTQ plus, there's no damn representation. I mean, we couldn't have the Valkyries and Thor. A lot of them were into each other. A lot of them were gay. Couldn't have that. Couldn't have our lesbians in Wakanda. We don't even have Angela yet. So I'm waiting to see how they handle that situation. There's so many characters that are bi that you'll never see addressed in this show. If America Chavez is not a straight up lesbian with lesbian moms that are dead, I'm be like, you guys are shit. You just hate gay people. I'm like, Kevin Feige does not like the gay community. And that's how I feel about it, because I am 100 trillion% in my feelings about that. And so, but they'll, it's so weird. They'll be like, okay, we have representation here. We're trying to stay true to POC land, except when it comes to mixed people. And then we try to be okay when it comes to, people dealing with PTSD or any type of mental disabilities or any type of physical disabilities. So it's like they pick and choose what they're going to be diverse about. And it's very weird to me. It's just really weird. Maybe the century really warped mutants out of existence, and the plot of a story can be warping the world back to normal. I would be cool with that. It would be cool if everything that happened in WandaVision didn't actually stop. Instead of her just like dissolving her hex bubble, that's what I call it, it actually like spread out. So it's actually covering the entire world. And so all the events that are happening are because the hex, the Nexus Bridge and the hex bubble are still in play. That would be cool as shit to me. I don't know. I think that'd be kind of cool. I wonder how they will adapt Fantastic Four. I hope they pull a Spider-Man and skip the origin and just give us Reed and Susan as parents to a young Valeria and Franklin Richards. I thought we had Franklin Richards in WandaVision. I mean, hell, you guys even were so bold with Easter eggs. You not only literally gave us every Mephisto freaking plug-in, especially, and also with the Reaper. You also put a picture of a little boy with blonde hair that was missing on a milk carton that Wanda picked up and was drinking out of, which made it seem like that's why Agatha was doing all the shit she was doing, because Agatha Harkness was the governess for Franklin Richards when he was attacked by Mephisto, or him and his parents, and he literally beat the hell out of Mephisto and spread his soul shards. So I feel like that was a good time, a good way of introducing that. And those were great Easter eggs. But now that you say this to me, they got rid of Susan. Kate doesn't have a sister anymore. Her father, who was alive, and her mother, who was the one presumed dead, it was going to be completely reversed. So to be honest with you, hell, they might not ever have kids. I'm like, this is the MCU. I mean, let's be clear. A lot of people didn't even realize in Iron Man, and look how long Iron Man has been out. They didn't realize that Pepper was married to Happy in the damn comics. They had no clue that they were married in the comics. So, and just like when she got her suit, everyone was like, oh my God, Pepper has a suit now? I'm like, you don't read the damn comics. Sometimes in the comics, Tony passes suits out like they're damn candy canes. So, I mean... guys, it's a thing. Have you watched a new season of Young Justice yet? If you need a palate cleanser after all that, the Batwoman, I plan on watching it. Actually, I'm trying to see if I'm able to start watching it on Sunday. The reason we had to push our stream to tonight is I had emails that came in for last minute auditions for a bunch of stuff that I had to get done. And if you've ever had to work on voiceover or any type of audition, if you've ever been an actor or done anything where it's a project, you're on a very tight schedule. And when you have multiple of them, you have to edit it, send it off to this person, edit this one, send it off to this person. It's very time consuming. I spent about 11 hours yesterday just doing voiceover auditions, because that way you audition more than your cast, but you do it because you want them to come back to you. So even if you don't get cast in it, the fact that you keep getting these auditions is a good thing. So there are a lot of us out there. We're all struggling to work. And so that's what I was doing yesterday. And right now it's a very heavy season of auditions. So that's why the videos have been slower on here. And I'm trying. I'm trying, guys. To be honest with you, I have another audition that came in at 9:00 last night. And it is due on the 5th. So I think it's due on the 5th. Yeah, it's due on the 5th. And who knows what I'm going to get after that. And on top of that, I'm also working on my own voiceover motion comic. So it's been a bunch of stuff. It's a bunch. I'm busy. I start my new job on January 3rd, which is going to cut my time crazy, but I'm going to still make this work, guys. I am not going to abandon you in your time of need. Angry Grandma and Maria will still be here. AMC is adapting Anne Rice's Mayfair trilogy about witches into a TV series set for 2022. I hope the show is high budget enough to wash charm from our eyes next year as a new sanitizer. I would check that out, actually. Mayfair? Is that like the show The Witches, or was it The Witches of Salem, I think? I never checked it out, but somebody told me that was a good show. Do you think Wanda will be the villain in Doctor Strange 2? I am hoping that Wanda is the villain in Doctor Strange 2. Because let's be clear, Wanda has never been in her right mind. So she can go either way very convincingly and extremely easily. So I'm hoping that because she wants to bring her sons back and she heard them. So yeah, I think her in that Darkhold, she's gonna lose her shit and she's gonna probably fight Doctor Strange. And that would be a really interesting battle. I would love to see that, actually. I'm waiting to see if we're going to get White Vision back. I mean, he just flew away. Like, where is he? Maybe Wanda could be in Spider-Man No Say Home. Well, you know what? That could be a cutscene. A cutscene at the, you know what? That might actually happen. We might get, like, him and America Chavez and whoever else is going to be involved besides Juan they like to do at least one or two cutscenes at the end of every movie. So whoever's involved in Doctor Who Strange 2 has technically a shot at being a tiny cameo or having a tiny scene at the end of Spider-Man. I'll be excited. I can't see the movie until Saturday. So it comes out on the 17th, but I can't see it until the 18th. And it won't be till 7:00 at night. If I get home if I get home in time, then me and River might be able to do like we did with the last movie we reviewed, which I think was Halloween Kills. We will be able to do a review on that at 10 something. I can set it up for that. It's just I don't know. So we'll see. If not, it'll be Sunday. Then we'll have the review. I wouldn't be surprised if Kate Mother is a villain and takes her father's place because all the people she argues ends up dead, and that isn't a red flag. I mean, she's a villain in the comics, so that makes sense. I mean, she's Madame Mask in the comics, so I know that she that's probably who she's going to be in this. I suspect Valentina will be in Hawkeye. We'll see. I'm hoping. I remember Pepper Suit in that Iron Man animated series. I'm telling you, Tony was like, I got a suit for you. I got a suit for you. He was literally rolling people out like he was making like Power Rangers meets like Voltron. Everybody gets a mecha suit. What is the name of that anime? Oh, I cannot remember the name of the anime where they had office workers that were basically getting suits to fight. But that's what he's like. He was just like, hey, you get this, you get that, you get this one. Grand Jersey, your ass over here. You know, it's just like everybody's getting suits. Like Bubblegum Crisis 2040. I'm like, so like whenever people are like, I can't believe that they have a suit too. I'm like, that man has made a suit for everything and everyone. It's fine. It's completely believable. The new arc with Zatanna looks interesting, but so dark. Ooh. Man, okay, Sunday I'm gonna have to watch me some Young Justice. I see this is gonna happen. Now today, guys, I can't watch it today because I'm gonna do a review on this tomorrow. Besides Yashahime, I'm doing Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous because season 4 dropped today. And I have seen 1 through 3. I love that series. And so season 4, I'm gonna do a live stream tomorrow on probably around this time or a little bit later, maybe between 2 or 3. But I'm watching all of it tonight. I'm going to binge it. They're only like 20, 30-minute episodes, but effing love that show. So I'm going to be doing a review on that. I have cut time off. I'm like, I'm not doing anything else tonight. I'm watching this damn show. So me and River are going to binge it, and that's going to happen. Do I have any dream cast ideas for Black Cat? Ooh, good question. Who could play good old Felicia? I mean... Does she have to be tall? I don't think she have to be tall. Because what's really sad is the girl playing Yelena would have been a really good Black Cat. Like, I think so anyway. And an alternate universe, I'm sure they probably would have had Emma Stone, because she's blonde, play Black Cat. And she probably would have been very good at it. I mean, I liked her as Gwen Stacy, but she would have been really good at it. I just never really thought about it. I'll have to think about, don't know what actresses I'm thinking off the top of my head that would be. I mean, there's a ton. The one thing we're not missing in the Hollywood universe are blondes. Let's be clear. But so I think her age, it would be an age thing. I guess the problem would be you would have to find somebody who was around the same age as Peter's actor. And that would cause a lot of drama between him and MJ, I'm sure. And so I don't know. I'd think about that. I'll get back to you on that. I guess I need to do a video of people they should add and who should play them. That'd be a cool video to make, actually. So maybe I should do that. Some actor choices for future villains and future add-ins to Marvel movies and characters or in properties. It'd be kind of cool. How do you think Yelena will be involved with the story? I think she's going to go out for revenge until she figures out that she was lied to, and then she'll probably just she'll aid Kate in getting Clint home for Christmas, because that is the most important thing in the story. He needs to go home to his family. I think you would sound great voicing Lady Shiva in an animated film, kicking butt and throwing shade. My dream role. I would love to play Lady Shiva. You have no idea. No idea. But so is everybody else. I mean, with voice acting, you have to get an agent to get you in the door to even participate in a Disney voiceover thing. It's interesting. It is interesting, but you never know. I mean, never say never in this world, right? Yes, I am busy. I know, it's so sad. Spider-Man No Way Home comes out on Wednesday the 15th in the UK. Ryan, don't you spoil it. You get on here and you tell my cousin, you tell Ian that he is not allowed to say shit. And yes, his name is Ian McGregor. Nothing, not a damn word. That's okay. I muted him. I can't see anything until I think I muted him until the beginning of January. I'm saying shit, nothing, not a word. So Ryan, if you come in here, just have like a smile. Just go in and post a smile and something. If I have a stream before I see it, and just smile and don't say anything. Don't say why you're smiling. It's because and we know, but just don't tell us. No one read anything after the 15th online, because they will put reviews up, because obviously, Disney doesn't think that, hey, we want our American audiences to actually be able to see this spoil free. No, we don't want them to enjoy the movie like other places get to enjoy it. It's not fresh in our minds. We have to watch all these reviews about how it sucks or it doesn't suck because you put it out. They should release this shit simultaneously. I've been saying this for years. I have no problem with it being released overseas, at the same time. I've always thought it wasn't fair that, even if they make stuff overseas, that we have to wait and vice versa. Just if you could do it with anime, if Japan and America can have an anime simuldub, you can simultaneously release movies in the UK, in China, in Korea. Well, China probably doesn't want it. Depends on what part, though. Korea, whatever, that are simultaneously released. I don't get that. And then we wouldn't have all this crap, would we? Because that's called smart. But whatever. They want to make that money. So I believe that Wanda will get influenced by the Darkhold, but she's too busy looking for spells to try and save her son to notice manipulation. Absolutely. She's easy to manipulate. She manipulates her damn self. That's the problem. Mayfair is about a family of witches who make a deal with a demon for wealth, and with each generation, a potential vessel for him is born. One person in each generation gets the power to talk with him. Oh, wow. So I have a character in my motion comic. His name is Caleb. And in my world, powers are called inheritances. They all come from your father. So that means your mother is always going to have a different ability because she got it from her father. And Caleb, he has a demon that lives inside of him, and he can utilize all of its powers, and it charges his weapon. And the interesting about him is that all of the men it's the firstborn male, all of the men in his family only have kids so they can get rid of the demon. They don't even want half of them. Like, his father didn't want children at all. And he went and had him so he could dump because of the moment that baby is born, the demon attaches itself to the infant. So think about how messed up that is. So you basically go through your entire life with this demon inside of you, and you have no idea what the hell's going on. And your dad's like, better you than me, bitch. So it's a messed up. I mean, the whole situation is up. So that's what that reminds me of, is that my character Caleb is exactly like that. So yeah, you guys keep getting spoilers on stuff that other people don't get, like, because nobody knows that. So good for you. Let's see here. I love the 90s X-Men animated series. The theme song is iconic, but Saban was cheap as hell and the show aged badly. Batman animated looked better. I hope the continuation is great. I am excited because we're getting all the actors back, which I think, well, most of them anyway. I think that's really cool. I'm excited to see, and since it's a continuation, it continues the story. Let's reboot it. So I think that'll be cool. What do you think Doctor Strange means when they're starting to come through? Probably. Well, it depends. I've always wondered if we're doing any stories that are versed on the Nexus Bridge with Mephisto and his just went out of my head. He has a troop of demons that are like demon gods that mess around with the Nexus Bridge, and I cannot remember their damn names. I would love to have like his. So then, like how we had Justice League Uncut, and then we had Darkseid, and we had all of his minions. I would love to have Mephisto's minions be the ones actually coming through and messing shit up. I don't know. I think that'd be kind of cool, but I just don't really think we're ever going to get Mephisto because for some reason, because fans want to see Mephisto, my MCU, Kevin Feige, Disney, whoever, like, now we're not bringing you the devil. So I'm like, you got Lucifer on DC, you ain't getting this here. So I don't know if that would actually be a story that we would see. But I mean, quite frankly, it could just be people from other worlds that are coming through. I mean, it looks to me in the trailer that all of the multiverses are like falling into each other. It looks like Inception shit. Remember the movie Inception? It looks like that. It's weird. But I mean, I don't know. I would love for it to be the other Spider-Mans, like so many different Spider-Mans. I would love it. Spider-Man Noir, I love so much. I would love to have, like every version of Spider-Man that we don't have now. I think would be cool. And then we get Silk, we get a bunch of others, we get Jessica. We probably are getting into that. It's just a dream that I have, which will probably not see the light of day. I thought Ms. Marvel was 2021. I thought they pushed it to 2022. I don't know. Yeah, they've been moving a lot of stuff because COVID messed up a lot of stuff, like a lot of shooting schedules. So yeah, that makes sense to me. I would watch that video of your Dreamcast for MCU flicks if you made it. Well, I will make it for you. I think I'll get Joe to help me. Me and Joe will make a video of all of our picks for our favorite, all of our favorite villains and actors like we think should be these people. That would be a cool video to make. You guys already know who my pick is for Silk, even though she's in her 20s. I think she actually might be near 30 now, but she still looks young like me, so she could pull it off. And that's Arden Cho, who played Kira in Teen Wolf. I think she would have been a very cool Silk. She knows martial arts. She's also a dancer. She just has a mentality. And if you watched her as Kira, because she was playing a kitsune in that series, I think she's a really good Cindy Moon. So, and she's fluent in Korean. She's half Korean, but she's fluent in Korean. So I think that would be really cool. I would love to see her, Arden Cho, be Cindy Moon. I'm only watching Spider-Man on the Friday anyway. Oh, so you are? Okay. So you won't be far from behind me then. That's cool. What is your honest opinion about the new Iron Fist in the comics being Asian after 60-something years? About damn time. Well, I mean, to be fair, the Iron Fist Netflix series, that man... I mean, that show bored the hell out of me. I tried so hard because Danny in the comics, I understand what people are saying. But Danny in the comics was still a lot cooler than the shit we got on Netflix. And then, of course, the whole thing with him having sex with Colleen and being in a relationship with Colleen, which is really weird for me because he was always with Mercedes. And Colleen and him, they had never had that type of relationship. It's just really effing weird. And, like Luke Cage and Mercedes, that's weird to me because he's always been with Jessica Jones and they have a baby, Daniela. It's just all of it. It's like, how do you mess that up? I mean, how do you make that connection? It doesn't make, how do you just decide that's not going to be your partner? This one is. I mean, if this was during the time of BLM when it was really getting big, people would have been like pissed that they decided not to have his love interest be black. And, and again, Colleen her actress is mixed. She's half white and half Asian. But if you really think about just the optics of that, because it's an established relationship, That is so messed up to me. It's so messed up. And then especially with Luke and Jessica being an interracial couple, and them just, they got it on, but they didn't really imply that they would ever be together, even though they're married in the comics. Like, that whole situation is effed up. So for me, having the new Iron Fist be Asian is just, an evolution. I mean, it's just the comics, to me, they didn't technically get it wrong. Again, I do understand a lot of people were in their feelings about the fact that Iron Fist was white. But I mean, the same people that say that, like some of the people, there's one guy I can think of in particular, which kind of pisses me off. He was mad about, Danny being white in the comics, but yet he had no problem watching the show Kung Fu with David Carradine, who was literally a whitewashed, not even Asian, walking around pretending to be half Asian. And he completely was okay with that, and then got upset that they have an almost all Asian cast and a female in Kung Fu. So, I mean, it just depends on what you like and what you believe. It's just what it is. I know if we're talking about the Netflix incarnation of him with what's his name, Finn, the actor Finn, playing Danny, I did not like that at all. I'm down for it. I don't have a problem with it anyway. But comics have always been a little non-inclusive since conception, because it was for a long time. It used to be an all-male, all-white show. So, yeah, 60 years, but hey, at least we got it, right? It's here. I'm glad we have the powerhouse Rogue back in an animated series. I spent the first X-Men trilogy waiting for Anna Paquin to turn into a comic version. That never happened. That woman was never Rogue. She was Jubilee with draining ability. That girl was not. She was a white Jubilee. That's what I saw. I mean, it's just what I saw. Do you want a Young Avengers movie or TV series? I think a TV series would be better, so they can make it as queer as possible and they don't have to water it down. My fear is that they will water it down anyway, because if it's on Disney waters down queer relationships. Like Raya and the Last Dragon. You cannot tell me that girl isn't queer. I said that my first review, I said it. And I literally was like, even her damn voice actress thinks that her character's gay. But Disney will not commit. No, they won't kiss. They won't do anything in a Disney property. So for me, it doesn't matter. As long as Disney's involved, it is not going to be queer. They have, I think, one movie that they had made with that was animated that had two men that were together. And apparently they put it out, and then they ended up just making it something that you can watch on streaming network, because people kept writing in and complaining that it was bad for their children. Elsa, they were actually thinking about making her a lesbian, and then they completely scrapped that idea because, Disney said no. So, I mean, it's just what it is. So for me, it doesn't matter if it's a movie or a TV series. They're not going to make it as queer as you want it to be, because that is not what Disney wants. Disney is only LGBT plus forward when it is Pride Month, and they can make that money. And then when it goes away, tell me right now, just right now, one MCU property that shows somebody queer. And I don't mean implied queer, shows me someone that's queer. So yeah, I have no faith. I mean, I'm terrified that America Chavez is going to have a crush on a boy. What do you think of martial arts actress Amy Johnston as Black Cat? That would be cool. You know what just triggered something for me from that? Not a little off topic. Amy Johnson, who played Kimberly in the original Power Rangers, she's directing, I don't know if it's one episode, but she's directing Superman and Lois this season. Thought that was interesting. I love Arden Cho, a great choice for Silk. I'm pissed no one thought about doing a Kira Kitsune spinoff at MTV. The mythology of the Kitsunes on that show was so cool. It is very cool, especially the episode where they flash back to her grandmother. She reminds me, if she can't be Silk, she already played a Kitsune. I could totally see her as White Fox. I could see her as White Fox. Iron Fist was definitely one of the weaker series. Oh, yes, it was. And the second season of Luke Cage pissed me the hell off. I'm worried about Doctor Strange too, because they are going through significant reshoots 6 days a week until the end of the year. What the hell happened? I'm like... I felt bad for the Netflix defenders. A version of Iron Fist made season 1 Sakura seemed like an ideal teammate in comparison. Well, yeah, I will say when we saw him, okay, when we saw Finn's version of Danny in The Defenders, he was okay. When we saw him do a cameo in Luke Cage season 2, he was better in that one scene than he was in his whole damn TV show. It was so weird. It was weird. I would be happy if Danny Rand died and Shang-Chi was given the Iron Fist power. He doesn't need it, but that's fine. He doesn't need it. The new West Side Story film is being called better than the original. Amongst the changes they made was casting Latinas to play their parts in the film. Most of the OG cast was white. I mean, you're going to see that across the board. I'm so glad that Echo is actually played by a Native American. I'm going to be honest with you. I have to be honest and say I like Kung Fu The Legend Continues, and I watched it for the martial arts. Never saw the original. I had no idea it was so problematic. Well, none of us did. None of us knew until we knew. And that's the thing. There's plenty of stuff in my childhood that I look back and I'm like, wow, that was really bad what they did. Like, I grew up watching, Westerns. Like, that's what my dad would watch. We watched Saturday morning, Kung Fu movies, and then we would watch Westerns, like Pale Rider and all these ones. Well, if you look at some of the ones that came out, especially the spaghetti string, the string operas is what I used to call the Westerns, a lot of the Native Americans, a majority of the Native Americans were white and brown-faced. And they're always they only had two modes. They were sick and dying or have a shot by a soldier, or they were trying to kidnap some poor white woman and have a baby with her, or take back, the farming land. And they were always seen as terrorists. And I'm like, wow, it's really weird to be called a terrorist on your own damn land and your own damn country that you were there first. I'm like, and then be played by white men that are brown face. They did the same thing with black characters. They would put white people in blackface back in the day, especially black and white movies. I mean, this is something that's happened in Hollywood throughout time. The only thing that pisses me off now is that they're trying to be a little bit more sensitive, but they're not doing it for everybody. Because let's be clear. And unfortunately, actors need to work, okay? So this is no hate on any actor. I'm not going to hate on an actor for this. If you are Chinese and you're cast as a Korean comic book character or a character in a movie, technically, that is still cultural appropriation because you're not Korean. China and Korea, they have nothing other than being Asian. They have nothing in common. Same with Jimmy Woo being played by a Korean actor. He's not Chinese. He has no cultural attachment to being Chinese, but Hollywood's like, you're Asian. And what you're really telling Asians is you all look alike. That's literally what I'm hearing. So this is not something that Hollywood has ever let go of. It's not ever going to be let go of. I mean, look at me. I could be cast as anything that has light skin and dark hair. They don't give a shit that I'm not any of this stuff, especially if it's like, something that's Latina or Hispanic, or some people think I'm Filipino, whatever. They will literally say, hey, you can be in this because you look the part. And so many mixed people that are ambiguous, they take those parts because they want to work. But that's not their culture. That is not their language. And that is also cultural appropriation. I can just write a freaking novel about how stupid all this shit is. I mean, I'm be real with you. It's all stupid. Like, all stupid. I'm still in my freaking feelings about Idris and them, and I already did the video. So you guys already did the video about this, about how, Idris, however you say his name, is taking on the role of a half Native American, half Black, character. And he's not American. He's not Black American, and he's not Native American. And people are like, it's good. Historical people. These are historical effing people. And people are like completely okay with it. So this is a conversation people don't like to have because it's happening like across the board. It's happening a lot. And you can't just focus on one thing that is happening in Hollywood. You have to focus on all of the confuckery because it's all there. All of it is there. So, yeah. Don't get me on my anger grandma soapbox, guys. I didn't like how Luke Cage season 2 ended. I didn't either. Making Luke be the stereotypical criminal, and, because he's Black, he's going to be the head of a gang. Don't get me started with that shit. I can't. I can't. Disney during Pride. We love you. Merchandise everywhere as soon as the month ends. But I see you next year. If you see me on the street, I don't know you until then. Hey, they should put that on a shirt and a hat because that's it. Disney does not know you till Pride Month. That is exactly true. Those are true words. Many of the old Western movies frame the colonizers as heroes and the people defending their land from invasion as villains. Yep. I'm hoping for Heroes for Hire series to maybe redeem Iron Fist and Luke Cage. I would love for them to do Heroes for Hire. That would be cool. I mean, and then you could have Colleen and you know, and Mercedes be, you know, the partners again, because that's basically what they were. They were crime fighting partners. I mean, it's just so, we had a little snip of them together as fighting, but I mean, that was their whole relationship. Like, it was always Colleen and Mercedes were a team, and then Mercedes was just, you know, getting it on with Danny. I mean, it never made sense to me. You mean how like Arden chose Korean but was cast as Japanese, and Power Rangers Samurai had 2 Koreans as Japanese? Oh yes. Let's be clear though, Power Rangers Samurai was problematic to begin with. How the hell are any of them, the rest of them samurai? If I was to write Power Ranger Samurai, then they would not be descendant of samurais. They would be somebody who helped actual person who was a descendant of samurais, like a retainer, and then to pay them back for their kindness, they gave them the morphers or whatever. I'm like, please, I don't have children. Take this and raise your child to take my place, because I don't have family to pass it to. Something of that level. And so that it would be a great honor that these people got these powers from this family of actual samurais and their representatives. That would have made sense to me. But telling me that blonde ass Jaden is a damn fucking samurai, a descendant, and he's not even Asian, like, bullshit. So I can't. Iron Fist will definitely be a complete reboot compared to Daredevil and Kingpin being soft rebooted to the MCU. I'm excited. I am excited. I think that there's lots of potential to bring in a lot of the people they left behind in the MCU. I would love to have Mercedes and Colleen be in, because they're actual characters in the comics. I don't know if that's going to happen, because Kevin likes to decide things aren't canon. It's weird. He's like, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. are not canon. The Netflix series are not canon. So anything prior to what's happening when Kevin came in is now not being considered canon to MCU. And I have a lot of problems with that. So we'll see, because if he's actually bringing in, you know, Daredevil and Kingpin from Netflix series, then how are they not canon? Unless you're reinventing them completely for this universe. Same actors, same characters, but different versions or variations of them, which would be really weird. It's going to be really weird to see that. The way season 2 of Luke Cage ended made me think it was taken from the comics when Daredevil beat down Frank and declared himself the kingpin of crime. And that would have been cool if it had been Daredevil and Fisk. But it wasn't. So I just felt that was problematic, especially since they didn't have a way of redeeming Luke. So he literally just went out as a villain, basically, or a potential villain. I did not like that. That was stupid. I feel the Netflix shows have too much potential, but Netflix was too cheap with those shows as a whole, and it held them back. I think Marvel had a lot to do with that too. I think there's a lot of infighting between Marvel and Netflix. I don't know. We don't know the whole story. We speculate what happened. We don't know the whole story. Vandal Savage is what Wolverine could be if he committed. True. Wolverine's lazy. I wish we got more Sense8 seasons. Oh, I freaking love that show. Using a polyamorous relationship to resolve a love triangle was actually something I would have loved to see. I mean, that's essentially what they did. I mean, I don't know why their names went out of my head, but Pretty Chickie from India and her husband, and the dude from Germany all have a polyamorous relationship by themselves, and then they had a huge group orgy at the end. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I don't know. I love the premise of Sense8. It was very it was a newer way of telling stories with superpowers, and it made the threat even realer, because I mean, their lives were always in danger and people could sense them, and then there were other groups like them. It's just, that show was great. It was absolutely amazing. But yeah, like all amazing stuff on Netflix, they cancel it. It's like, we know you like this show, so it's gone. But here, take these other series that nobody gives a crap about. We'll have 20 seasons of those. It's fine. From what I heard, Marvel TV stopped Marvel Studios from using or referencing any characters from the Marvel TV side of things. Okay, that tracks. That tracks. I think it's interesting that, you want to put out the best possible property, but you can't. Let's use Arrowverse as an example. You can't use Batman, but you can use Bruce. So you literally create a show about Arrow. Now, Arrow has had some good comic runs, but he is not considered an A level anything. Not in the animated series, not in his the comic book version. I mean, he is literally the running joke. He always feels like he's left out of everybody's like list on who the biggest threats are. Like even Batman has a contingency plan, but he doesn't have Arrow on it because he doesn't consider him worth having one for. It's a mess. So whenever you have these people, they're like, I want to do a Batman show, but I can't. So I'm going to do a Green Arrow show. And I'm going to give Green Arrow all of the villains that we are allowed to license from Batman. But that's okay because we're going to do the same shit with Batwoman. Like, we just got a Batwoman in Gotham and then act like Batman don't give a damn about Gotham. I don't give a damn about his company and doesn't give a damn about anything else. And nobody, and Kate Kane, she don't give a damn about anything else either because she went off to find Batman. And obviously she doesn't watch the news. So she doesn't know what's happening with the company or anything. So we don't, she obviously is making a cameo saying, hey, Ryan and team, what the hell are you doing with my shit that I left you? It's just, they don't care. Like the writers are just like, how many people can we cram in the story, related or not, so that we can make something that we said we did so we can make that money. That's it. That is what it, that is how it is. Somebody posts on my last video, I want to say it was on the Flash one, saying that one of the writers for Supergirl came out and said during the last season, they weren't even using storyboards, that they were just trusting that all the writers and the new writers were on board. And I said they were doing that shit. I've been saying that from the jump. I'm like, I know they don't storyboard this. They're just like, well, what do we can do this week? So it's inconsistent writing because there is no consistency. You're not outlining anything. You're just throwing shit at people. And the whole thing with Supercorp, they, like this writer even said, technically speaking, we acknowledge that, this is perceived as what it was, gay baiting. It was queer baiting. And, the uppers didn't want us to resolve that in a way that would make the LGBTQ, plus community happy. So we got this obscure bullshit. So yeah, it's a thing. It is a thing. So long story short, guys, let's be real. I loved the Tobey Maguire first Spider-Man movie. I didn't mind the second one. I love Doc Ock. They weren't canon. It's not canon. That's not how that shit went down. I mean, Doc Ock was close to how that went down. Gollum was close to how that went down, but that's not what happened. So I understand going into Spider-Man, and I'm addressing Spider-Man because technically Spider-Man was the first successful Marvel movie that they technically had. I mean, yeah, they had Fantastic Four and all that, but successful Marvel movie that opened the door to them even considering expanding to MCU. So if that movie is not accurate, then why in the hell would you think that anything else would be? I'm like, it's not. It's not going to be. Let's see. So it's clear we're not getting next Avengers with Cap in the past with Peggy and Widow with Silver. Who the hell knows? I'm like, who knows? Yeah, me and you are on the same page with Sense8. I effing love Sense8 so much. I feel like Arrow taking Batman stuff in the CW is lazy. They could have had used the opportunity to make new Green Arrow villains or bring in actual, Green Arrow villains from his lore. He's had a few. Like I guess that is just stupid. The CW should be ashamed that they can't take some of their best IP on the planet into storytelling gold. Yep. I mean, I think the problem is that they are a well-oiled machine of making money. They just want to keep pumping out shows that they can get viewers for, that they can make money on merchandise and Blu-rays and everything else they're doing to get, basically recoup their investment. And unfortunately, it's at the cost of actually good storytelling. They don't want to put more in than they make, is what I'm saying. So that's why we don't get half of the CG stuff we should have. That's why Green Lantern's in like maybe 3 episodes of Stargirl. That if we have to have the staff, we're not going to have the ring. I mean, it's just a thing. And it's sad. It's really sad that this is how it is, but but they're trying to jump on that wagon. DC has always done really well on television, in an animated form, and Marvel does better in movies. So, except there are a few exceptions. Like I am really looking forward to Shazam 2. Black Adam has potential. It's actually looking like it would be pretty good. I didn't mind the first Wonder Woman movie. I don't claim the second. I just don't. Aquaman 1 was not bad, but it's hard now because when I look at Mira's actress, I just can't stop thinking about. I just have thoughts. Let's put it that way. But yeah, there are exceptions. And if the Joker had been in the continuity, that would have been badass. Like Suicide Squad, the Suicide Squad. If all these had been in continuity, that would have taken DCEU to another level. But considering they are in multiverses themselves, it's just stupid. I don't know. I just realized Tommy Merlin and Eddie Thawne had the exact same season 1 endings between the two shows. It's lazy in hell. Oh, trust me. They all have the same plot. You just got to look for it. All of them are doing the same thing. And sometimes wear the same clothes as other shows. They just pass that shit around. You know, it's like a show that I have given up on has been Nancy Drew. Everybody knows this. I still watch it from time to time just to see what train wreck it is, but I've given it up on it because it was a very clever idea to set it in a darker universe. But Nancy is so problematic and to me, and the representation in that show is so all over the place. I just can't stomach it anymore. But I'm bringing it up because they've had plots that are similar. I mean, very similar to some stuff that's happened in The Flash. I literally can make a video where I could show you exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm like, and they're not even a show that has people with superpowers. So it's a thing. It is a thing. The CW should be ashamed that they can't think of my already that one. No, that one. I watched Grace Randolph's video and she said Black Adam will have a queer character and Shazam 2 may continue with hinting one of the Foster brothers is gay. That's fine. Hinting and just coming out and saying it are two different things. I need them to commit. Because they have people in their universe right now that are actually gay in the comics. And it's not even talked about. So not even brought up in any capacity. And if you're not going to do that, if you want to have a superhero show that is void of relationships, then don't have heterosexual ones either. That's how I feel. Don't have any relationships. Don't anybody talk about anybody at all. Just shut up. That's literally how I feel. I gave up on Riverdale. It's just garbage. Oh, I haven't watched Riverdale in so long. It's not even funny. I think they didn't know what to do with Archie and them. They're like, where do we take this crazy train wreck now? So I don't. Plus, representation on that show is ridiculous. They treat people in the LGBT community on that one really badly. Like every relationship sucks. So yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing. I dropped Riverdale and watched the first 2 episodes of this season and was confused as hell. We have Leona and the devil is gone off the rails and down the bottom. I heard Sabrina is going to be making a cameo or appearance on this show too. So there's that. Yeah, I don't know. All of it's effing weird to me, guys. It's just weird. I just can't. I can't stomach. I can't wrap my mind around these 2 shows. I just cannot do it. I do need to. I still owe you guys some spotlights, and I do owe you guys my review on Girl in the Woods, a Peacock show, which I kind of like. So I do need to review that when I have it. I'm going to try. I'm making a schedule. I'm going to try and just do short videos. I figure if I do shorter videos without streams, I can get a little bit more done. And then on the ones I really want to talk about, like I want to talk about Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous because I really love that show. And it actually is in continuity with the Jurassic Park movie. So if you have not seen Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous, please go and watch it on Netflix if you have it, because they have the first 3 seasons. They just dropped season 4. But again, all of these they start from the Lost World. So same timeline as the Lost World. They're actually at the same place that Chris Pratt and her name went out of my damn head again. Ron Howard's daughter, Bryce Howard, I think it is, that they were in Lost World. So like it's following the movie. So by the time we get the latest Jurassic Park movie, this cartoon literally will tie in to the latest Jurassic Park movie. So if you're into that, if you're into Jurassic Park, you like dinosaurs, I mean, I think you will really like this show. And it is heavily POC. We have 1 white character. Everybody else is POC. We have Hispanic. We have an Iranian. We have a guy who is I think he's half Japanese and half white. I can't remember. Our main leader is Black. So everybody basically is a minority. And it's very well done and very well voice acted. It's very well written, very good cartoon. So check it out. And again, I will be doing a review on season 4. So I will have that tomorrow. So after Yashahime, I'll have my review on that one. It might be a stream because I might have a lot to talk. If I don't have a ton to talk about, I'll do a video, but you'll see it pop up. It should be in the afternoon. So there's that. Let's see. One more question. Who was even asking for an Archie show? My entire life has been understood that you don't want to be the one caught reading Archie comics at the comic store. You know, he didn't need to know he was going to go with Betty or Veronica. But now, I mean, Archie evolved in the comics too. It used to be like this really simple, wholesome comic. And then it came to Jughead is now an alcoholic. And I think Mitzi is pregnant. So, I mean, to be fair, the comic went a little off the rails too. Not like the crap they have on the CW, but it went off the rails too. You know, it is what it is. I think that the CW gets off on making things crazy. So I don't know. It's a thing. I mean, they have a lot of shows coming out that I have a question mark over my head about, but it's a thing. But okay, guys, it is almost an hour and a half into our lives. You guys are awesome. Thank you for hanging out with me when we talked about Hawkeye episode 3. Again, I have no problem with the show. I just want it to move faster. I want more story because we don't have a lot of episodes, which to me, considering Jeremy did not get an actual Hawkeye movie, it's kind of bullshit that he only gets a few episodes, I think like 6 episodes. That's bullshit. So just throwing it out there. But yeah, I really need a lot more out of this. And they have really cool characters, so I do not want them to mess this up. And so far, it's not messed up. It's just some choices made for Hawkeye and Clint. For me, number one, him having this family takes away a lot from him and Kate's relationship. That's just my personal opinion. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe they'll change my mind by the end of it, and I'll be like, okay, this is a cool angle. So we'll see. So I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen basically in our next episode. Now, my birthday is on the 8th. So if I do a review, it's going to be on my birthday. So December 8th. You know, I'm a Sagittarius. So the next time we talk about Hawkeye, I will be a year older. Woo. So we'll see what kind of mood I'm in. We'll see. But yeah, so we will be again having 2 videos tomorrow, potentially 2 live streams, maybe 1 live stream and 1 video. We'll see. And then I'm going to be working with Joe on Trash Comics and Groove. And then I'm going to talk to Joe today about doing a video where we talk about some of the villains you would like to see, some of the characters we'd like to see added in. So we'll check that out too. Thank you. Happy birthday, Wilbert. I knew another Sagittarius was in here. I could sense it. All right. Have a very good birthday, Wilbert. Party for me. I'll party for you next week. If it is day for you guys, have a very good day. If it is evening for you, have a very good evening. And I will see you tomorrow for our 2 videos. Bye, guys.